From the moment we're born, it's one of the first flavors we encounter, a fundamental building block of our very existence. It seasons our food, preserves our history, and has been the silent architect of empires, the trigger of wars, and the very foundation of human civilization. We're talking, of course, about salt, not just the crystals you sprinkle on your dinner, but a substance so profoundly intertwined with human history that its story is a secret history of the world itself. It's the world's oldest flavor, a flavor so elemental we often take it for granted. But what if I told you that this humble mineral, this simple sodium chloride, was once white gold, more valuable than spices, more potent than an army, and a force that shaped the very map of our world? Prepare to uncover the extraordinary saga of the most ordinary yet utterly essential ingredient known to humankind. Our journey begins not in a bustling marketplace, but in the desolate wilderness of prehistory. Imagine early humans, nomadic hunter-gatherers, driven by instinct. Their diets, heavy on meat, provided some natural salts, but as they diversified into plant-based foods, the need for external salt became critical. They sought out natural salt licks, places where mineral-rich water evaporated, leaving behind crystalline deposits. These licks weren't just feeding grounds, they were gathering spots, sacred sites where diverse tribes might cautiously interact. The discovery that this sharp, crystalline substance could not only enhance the taste of their meager meals, but also preserve precious food, allowing meat and fish to last through lean seasons, was nothing short of revolutionary. It was a leap that fundamentally altered human survival, enabling longer journeys, larger settlements, and the first steps towards a stable food supply. Salt, in essence, became the first great preservative, unlocking the potential for humanity to settle down and build. As human societies grew, so did the demand for salt. It was no longer just a survival tool, it was a commodity. In ancient Mesopotamia, Sumerian texts record salt being used for both food and medicine. The Egyptians, masters of preservation, used natron, a naturally occurring salt mixture, for mummification, linking salt directly to eternal life. But it was the Romans who truly elevated salt to an economic and strategic powerhouse. The famed Via Salaria, the Salt Road, was one of the earliest and most vital Roman roads, built explicitly to transport salt from the Adriatic Sea inland. Roman soldiers were often paid in salt, giving us the root of our word salary. Salarium was the allowance given to soldiers to buy salt. This wasn't a bonus, it was a necessity, reflecting salt's immense value. Control over salt sources meant control over people, armies, and wealth. Empires were quite literally built on salt. The global quest for salt ignited vast trade networks that crisscrossed continents. In the arid Sahara, salt blocks mined from ancient seabeds became currency, traded weight for weight with gold, defining routes that brought prosperity to kingdoms like Ghana and Mali. Imagine caravans of camels stretching for miles, laden with glistening blocks of salt, braving treacherous deserts for months on end. This white gold fueled their economies and sustained their populations. In China, where salt mining dates back over 6,000 years, they pioneered sophisticated deep well drilling techniques, sometimes reaching depths of over 1,000 meters, extracting brine that was then evaporated. The Chinese state maintained strict salt monopolies for millennia, using the revenue to fund wars, build infrastructure, and solidify imperial power. The Salt Commission was one of the most powerful institutions in imperial China, its officials often wielding more influence than regional governors. But salt's significance transcended mere economics and sustenance. It permeated the spiritual and cultural fabric of societies. In many ancient religions, salt symbolized purity, permanence, and a covenant. In the Bible, salt is used in offerings and covenants, signifying an unbreakable bond. Jesus referred to his disciples as the salt of the earth, implying their essential, preserving quality. The ancient Greeks used salt in their sacrifices, and the Romans sprinkled it on newborns to ward off evil spirits. To spill salt became a universal superstition of bad luck, often remedied by throwing a pinch over one's left shoulder to blind the devil. In Japanese Shinto rituals, salt is still used for purification, scattered before sumo wrestling matches to cleanse the ring. Across countless cultures, from the Himalayas to the Andes, salt became a sacred element, a bridge between the mundane and the divine, woven into rituals of birth, death, and everything in between. Yet this precious commodity was also a source of immense suffering and rebellion. When rulers recognized the immense revenue potential of salt, They often imposed heavy taxes and monopolies. One of the most infamous examples is the gabelle in France, a deeply unpopular salt tax that persisted for centuries, leading to widespread smuggling, brutal enforcement, and fueling popular discontent that boiled over during the French Revolution. Fast forward to the 20th century, and salt became a potent symbol of resistance against colonial oppression. Mahatma Gandhi's historic Salt March in 1930, where he led thousands to the Arabian Sea to illegally make their own salt, was a defining moment in India's struggle for independence. It was a simple act, yet it powerfully challenged the British salt monopoly and galvanized a nation, demonstrating that even the most basic necessities could become instruments of freedom. The Industrial Revolution dramatically changed salt production. From ancient evaporation ponds and arduous underground mines where miners often worked in brutal conditions, new technologies emerged. Mechanized mining, vast salt flats, and later, chemical processes made salt production more efficient and abundant than ever before. This widespread availability, ironically, stripped salt of its white gold status. It became cheap, ubiquitous, and almost invisible in its importance. The once rare and revered substance was now a common household item, its historical weight largely forgotten. Today, salt's story continues, albeit with a new chapter. It's no longer a currency, but its roles are more diverse than ever. Beyond flavoring and preserving our food, salt is fundamental to countless industrial processes, manufacturing chemicals like chlorine and caustic soda, de-icing roads, water softening, and even in medical solutions. Yet a paradox exists. Having once been vital for survival, we now often view excessive salt intake as a health risk, debating its place in our modern diet. This complex relationship highlights how a substance can transition from life-giver to potential hazard, all while remaining utterly indispensable. The journey of salt is a testament to its enduring power. From the first accidental taste of ancient humans to its role in global trade, empire building, spiritual rituals, and revolutions, salt has been a constant thread woven through the tapestry of human history. It reminds us that often, the most profound stories, the most powerful forces, are found in the most unassuming places. The next time you sprinkle salt on your food, pause for a moment. You're not just adding flavor, you're engaging with a legacy thousands of years old, touching a piece of history that shaped civilizations, fueled economies, and literally allowed humanity to survive and thrive. It truly is the secret history of the world's oldest flavor, a humble crystal with an epic tale.